And hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Hits with cwit. Happy to have you here. Got a great show planned for you guys today. Going to be talking a lot of sports, giving out my best takes for you. So stick around because it's going to be a great one here today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Steel City Sport 4, to stay up with all of the sports news. So let's get started. But first, hit that music. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And welcome back, everybody, to Sports Hits with cwit here on Anchor. We would get started, I'd like to say my prayers to Mason Rudolph and his family. Obviously, if you didn't see it, Mason Rudolph suffered a costly hit from Earl Thomas on Sunday's game, was unconscious after he got hit and then went to the hospital. Just my prayers go to you, Mason. Stick around, keep fighting, brother, and God's over you. So let's get started. So, first off, I want to say something. As much as I'm biased about this, which I am, you came to a Pittsburgh sports talk show. What do you expect? As much as I'm biased from this, the Steelers are a couple plays from being 4-1. They're a couple plays. The 2-point conversion versus Seahawks, we didn't get. We didn't contain Russell Wilson. We didn't put a spy on him because Keith Butler is an idiot. We only scored 6 points off of 5 turnovers versus the 49ers. That can't happen. And most of our turnovers were in the red zone, and we settled for field goals. Then we played the Bengals. We smacked them. What do you expect? Then, yesterday, the roughing the passer call was bad. Ola Adedenwe. It was horrible. It was a horrible call. The Steelers, there's a thing with rebuilding teams. You know the Dolphins, what they're going to get every week. They're going to get killed. You can't say the Steelers are a rebuilding team. They got the talent. If they had 7 back there this year, they'd be a legit Super Bowl contender, and I tell you. Minka out back there, trying to contain Tom Brady. They aren't a Super Bowl contender, but boy, they're an AFC championship contender. But what I said, they're a couple plays from being 4-1, but what are they? The opposite. They're 1-4, ladies and gentlemen. You could count them out for this year. It's so unfortunate. The year all the drama's gone. AB's gone, Le'Veon's gone. They got a clean locker room, and everybody just wants to win. They hype up the fans. They trade up to go get an impact player in Devin Bush, who's actually turned it around after I said last week he hasn't done that well. Devin Bush had a heck of an interception this week. But nonetheless, they trade up. They go get their impact player. They sign a couple free agents, which isn't Steelers' ideas at all. They never sign free agents. They get rid of Joey Porter, the linebackers coach. Tomlin's coming back. Fichtner's coming back. Keith Butler's coming back. They trade for Minka Fitzpatrick. Give up their first-round pick. But what happens? The Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. Are you going to give Mike Tomlin a pass? Yes! 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 You think when Tom Brady tore his ACL that one year, they gave Belichick a pass? Yes! Yes! Tomlin's never had a losing record at all. This year he probably will because he's losing his Hall of Fame quarterback. And he's on his third string quarterback in Devlin Hodges. From Sam Ford University. Devin Hodges is not the answer. He's not going to lead us to the playoffs. He's just not. And it's hard for me to say that. I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm saying the Steelers are done this year. I'm saying it right now. And I'm not in the best of mood today, I tell you that. Because the Steelers are a couple plays away from being 4-1. 4-1. Top of their division. 3 hardest games in the first 3 weeks. They could still be 4-1. So, you ask yourself, what went wrong Sunday? Not much. I'll tell you that right now. Not much went wrong Sunday. Not much. Tomlin had his guys ready to play. You can't argue that he didn't. They came out and they punched him in the mouth. They put up 10 unanswered. Offense was struggling at first. Who didn't they play their best game in the first half? Randy Fichtner. What the heck are you throwing? Jalen Samuels, a running back. A running back. Why the heck is he throwing the ball? Why? Are you just not trusting Mason Rudolph? If you're not trusting Mason Rudolph, why'd you trade a first-round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick? If you don't trust him, let him sling the ball. See what the kid's got. Don't go Wildcat. It's not going to work. It worked against the Bengals, but dang, it's the goddamn Bengals. What's new? Bengals are on 5. The execution from the offense was atrocious in the first half of the first quarter. And then Juju got one. I'll get to Juju in a little bit. But what the heck is Fichtner doing? He had Samuels throw it, and it led to a costly 3 points. Those 3 points are gone. Steelers win the football game. Because it makes the Ravens try to score a touchdown, and our defense was looking good. You kidding me? An interception from the quarterback. You say, oh, that's okay. It's the quarterback. But the running back? What the hell is wrong with Keith Butler? I mean, Randy Fichtner. The heck is that? Mason Rudolph went down in the third quarter. I was there to witness that game. A lot of emotions. There's 2 guys and a girl back there behind me when my dad and I went to the game on Sunday. It rained a little bit, but we were undercover. But there were 2 guys who, let's just say, had a little too much fun that day. Had a little too much fun because this is a PG-related podcast, and I want to keep it clean. They had a little fun that day. But all day, they were screaming, "Come on, Rudy! Come on, Rudy!" Relating to Mason Rudolph. And then the girl was even worse. The girl was screaming at the top of her lungs. It was annoying as heck. I'm trying to focus on a goddamn football game. That's what I came here to play. If I wanted to hear you scream, I would have never bought $100 tickets. I would have just looked that stuff up online. I didn't want to hear you scream. Notice who everyone is around you. They don't want to hear you scream. They just want to watch a football game. They don't give a damn about what you think. So just sit down and shut up and watch the game. Should the Steelers sign a QB? If so, who? My answer to this, no. They shouldn't sign a QB. I know you guys are all saying, oh, Kaepernick's the real deal. Why not sign Kaepernick? I thought they were done with toxicity in the locker room. Antonio Brown's gone. What did he have? He had CTE. He had locker room issues. Le'Veon Bell's gone. He holed out because of more money. And then you have a guy kneeling for the national anthem? And you don't think that's going to be a locker room toxicity? We have a guy, our starting left tackle, was in the Army. So why the heck would we sign someone who sits down for the national anthem? Why? You think Villanueva will be happy with that signing? Oh, I bet he'd let a couple pass rushers go by him pretty easily to hit Kaepernick. And I'm not saying what Kaepernick's doing is right or wrong, but it's going to cause a toxicity in the locker room. From one AFC North team to another. How about those Cleveland Browns? The dog pound. Baker Mayfield coming back for another year. He looks great this year. All those commercials, all those Hulu commercials. DirecTV, all those commercials. See him every other commercial is more like Peyton Manning at this point than Baker Mayfield. More focused on commercials than he is football game. I tell you that. Because his accuracy's going down. He doesn't have the O-line to do it. Excuse me. His accuracy is going down, though. He don't have the O-line to do it. It was a corner route from Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr., I'm pretty sure. Baker missed him. He missed him. He's making terrible decisions. Nonetheless, their next 5 games are relatively hard. They just got San Francisco. They got a butt whooping. They've got Seattle next week. They got New England. They got a bye. They got the Bills, and they got the Steelers. Tell me right now, who do they win in that game? You could say the Steelers, but that's one game. Are they going to beat the Bills? The Bills? With that great defense down there in Buffalo? How Tom Brady, the GOAT, to 16 points, they're going to beat the Bills? Are you kidding me? Fans? You kidding me? They're going to beat the Bills. They're going to contain Josh Allen? Are they? They're going to beat the Patriots? They're going to beat Russell Wilson? Steelers could have a better chance than the Browns. Steelers are 1 game out. 2 games out of the division. It's still in reach. They got to win next week versus the Chargers. Win versus the Dolphins, which is pretty relatively easy. And then they got to bye. Then they got the Colts, who is going to be a hard game. Might lose that game. They got the Rams at home. It's going to be another hard game. But they got to win. Not out of reach for those Steelers. But they did call their stuff into a little ball. They would have won yesterday. It would have been a 3-way tie in the division. I would have felt a whole lot better than I'm feeling right now. A whole lot better than what I'm feeling right now. Whole lot. But they didn't. They didn't capitalize on the mistakes that were made. They threw the ball with their running back, which is relatively a good idea to keep in Randy Fichtner's mind. It's a great idea. A great idea to go Wildcat against Baltimore Ravens, who were preparing for it all week, I bet. They were preparing for James Conner and Jalen Samuels all week. They don't think they didn't. Steelers, I bet the Steelers didn't think they didn't watch the game versus the Bengals. It was a Wildcat every play. It's the goddamn Bengals. Might be the worst organization in football. Haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Come on. Once we get back, we're going to preview college football and Mike Tomlin. Keep with us here on Sports Hits with cwit. welcome back, folks, to Sports Hits with cwit. I'm your host, Colin Whitty, and let's get into Michigan football. As you may know, I'm a Michigan fan. Go watch the other podcast. I talked about them. I previewed their Iowa game, but I'm going to replay their Iowa game and tell you what I think. Michigan, I love it. I love it what they did this Saturday. I love what they did. I love it. Their offense wasn't great. They still won. It's getting better. It's getting better with Josh Gaddis. It's getting better. Getting a lot better. Don Brown finally had his team to play. I know you guys are laughing at Michigan. Who's laughing now? They got to prove it, though. They play Penn State next week. They got a little off week with Illinois. Don't look past them, though. Same thing happened with Indiana. They looked past them, looking right at Ohio State last year. Indiana played them tough, and that affected their Ohio State game. You cannot tell me that didn't affect their Ohio State game. You cannot tell me it didn't affect them. Anyway, they got Penn State and Notre Dame coming up. They're winnable games. What do I think about the Iowa game? I loved it. It was awesome. 10-3. Let's go to a little backtrack. Beginning of preseason, you're dying for football. You look at Michigan's schedule. You look at it. You see Wisconsin, all these guys at the top, and you circle the date. Saturday, October 5th, Michigan plays Iowa. The Iowa Hawkeyes come in versus the Wolverines. What are you thinking? Oh, could be another 2016 where Jim Harbaugh maybe lost his chance to win, go to national championship, even go to the goddamn college football playoffs. Iowa beat them on a game-winning field goal. What does Michigan want? Revenge. The revenge tour. 2018 sure worked until Ohio State ruined the revenge tour. Thanks, Buckeyes, again. Anyway, what are you thinking? I bet none of you guys were thinking 10-3. Don't lie to me. None of you guys were thinking 10-3. I can know myself. Was I expecting a shootout? No, because these aren't two explosive offense. I was going to run it right down your throat, and if you don't like it, then you got to stop it, because we ain't stopping until we win that football game. What does Michigan like to do? Air it out. Let Shea Patterson do his work, the senior from Ole Miss. Five-star transfer. Eligible to play last year in 2018. That was his best year ever. Maybe the best quarterback in Michigan history since Tom Brady, for a sec. They like to air it out. Pound the ground on you. No more huddle. No more under setup. No more fallback. No more Ben Mason. What do they like to do? Air it out. So you got two different styles of play. You got the ground and pound, which is Iowa. Make you stack the box, stop the run. And then when you stack the box, put more linebackers there, it opens up the play action fake. Tight ends over the middle. All those tight ends that go to Iowa, all those tight ends in the NFL are mostly from Iowa. George Kittle, Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson. I could go on and on all day long, but I'm not going to because I don't have time. Anyway, can I just say something? Ohio State, Michigan last year. What were the styles of football? Like I said, Michigan, they like the ground and pound last year. They loved it. All those big boys gassed up. They're going to pound the ground all day with Ron Higdon. You didn't like it. You got to stop it before we keep doing it. Chris Evans, receiving back. Shea Patterson can fling the ball if you need him to sling the ball. But they like the ground and pound it more. Zach Gentry, Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tariq Black. Maybe the best offensive lineman in college football. They like the ground and pound. And what did Ohio State do with Ryan Day? Air it out. air it out with Dwayne Haskins. KJ Hill, Paris Campbell, J.K. Dobbins, Mike Weber, all those guys. They like to air it out. And look what happened. You got a butt routing, 62-39, a high-scoring game. Forget what the over-under was on that game. Trying to think back, but I can't remember. So you got two different styles of football. You got ground and pound, air it out. What was the ground and pound? What was the same style of football this week? Ground and pound and air it out. Is that not the same as the Michigan-Ohio State game? So why did they not score 62 and 32 points? 39 points. Defense. Last year, Michigan's defense was phenomenal. Chase Winovich was phenomenal. Devin Bush was phenomenal. Rashawn Gary, Khaleke Hudson, Levert Hill, all those guys. Carlo Kemp, I could go on and on, but I don't got time. Phenomenal. What happened? Devin Bush got hurt. Rashawn Gary was struggling in that game. They were doubling Winovich every single play. And Ohio State killed him with the crossing routes. Don Brown didn't know how to stop it. Don Brown was in straight panic mode in the first quarter. Michigan coming up with their best team in Ohio. They get their butt whooped 39-62. Are you kidding me? That ain't acceptable. So you were thinking, none of you guys were thinking 10-3. Don't lie to me. Don't lie. You weren't thinking 10-3. I know you weren't thinking 10-3 because I sure wasn't thinking 10-3 until I watched the game. It was a defensive battlefield position. Michigan scored early, got 10 points for the first 9 minutes. Iowa struck a field goal. 3 interceptions from their quarterback who they were raving about coming in. Not that great anymore. Is he that great? No, not that great. Not that great. Jim Harbaugh played a heck of a game. Josh Gaddis played well, being on the sideline for a second straight game. Don Brown played a heck of a game. All these are coordinators. They're all coordinators. It's a key in football. You can have talent, but you got to have coordinators. You got to have play calls. Why do you think Andy Reid folds in the playoffs every year? He can't win in the playoffs. He can't. He never has the defense to do it. He has the offense. He blew a 21-3 lead versus the Tennessee Titans. What do you think of them? You think a washed quarterback, an old tight end, and a horrible head coach in Mike Vrabel. What do you think of them? You think of a 7-9 record, maybe 8-8 if they're lucky. And they came in and came back from a 21-3 deficit in Arrowhead, which is, quote-unquote, from Kansas City fans, the loudest stadium in the world. I'm calling BS on that straight away. I'm calling BS. From Arrowhead to Pittsburgh. Well, Arrowhead to Washington, actually. Bob Snyder, I think is his name. The owner, or I think it's the owner or executive, something like that, might be on pot or meth. Folks, he said he wanted Mike Tomlin. You're kidding, right? You're kidding. Why the hell would the Steelers get rid of Mike Tomlin? The hell? You're kidding me, right? God. He had one bad year. He missed the playoffs one bad year. What do? You want to ship him off right away, Pittsburgh fans? You want to ship him off. Ship him off. Not to mention, he led you to a 13-3 season the year before. And I know you all complaining because of a wonderful start, but he hurt. His Hall of Fame quarterback is out for the season. Of course he gets an excuse. Of course he does. You think when Brady tore his ACL that Belichick got an excuse for that year? Of course he did. Of course he did. So why is it different from Tomlin? Why is it different from Tomlin? Belichick's a better coach than Tomlin. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But why? 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 From this segment, let's go into our other segment. I'm going to go through every NFL coach and compare Mike Tomlin to them. Starting out, this is an alphabetical version. This is the only site. It's Wikipedia. I could find who had the records of the teams. Starting out with Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury got his first win. It's hard to tell, but why would you rather have Cliff Kingsbury, who got fired from Texas Tech? Texas Tech is a college, if I'm not mistaken. It ain't an NFL team. It ain't an NFL team. If I'm not mistaken, it's a college. It's a college. Ain't it no NFL team? You didn't get fired from a dang NFL team. You got fired from a college. A college. Of course I'm going to have Tomlin over him. Dan Quinn, Atlanta Falcons coach. This guy's on the hot seat. Of course I'm going to rather have Tomlin than this guy. This guy stinks. Won NFC Championship. That's the year when Matt Ryan popped off MVP season. Julio was killing it with from Devontae Freeman. And then they choked in the Super Bowl. But you could call it either way. They won the first half, though. If you say that. Two playoff berths. Make or break year for Dan Quinn. And they're not off to a good start with the 1-4 record. John Harbaugh. This one is all John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh, I rave about this guy because if he would ever get fired, I think he would never get fired. He's a great coach. He's top 5. He's top 5, in my opinion. He's such a good coach. He is such a good coach. And I rave about him because I want him to come to Michigan. I think they choose the wrong Harbaugh, in my opinion. Jim Harbaugh is good, don't get me wrong, but I think they chose the wrong Harbaugh. Much rather have John Harbaugh than Jim. You know why? He's a 1 Super Bowl championship, 1 AFC championship, 3 AFC North championships, and 7 playoff berths. 7. He was hired in 2008. Don't tell me that ain't impressive. Did he have great teams? Not that great. Did he go in the Fox Bowl every year and beat them with those Super Bowl runs? Yes. Yes. John Harbaugh's a great coach, don't get me wrong. He's close, but I'd rather have John Harbaugh than Mike Tomlin. Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott has had 1 playoff berth, but he ain't no Mike Tomlin. He was hired in 2017. Hired in 2017, had 1 playoff berth. Tomlin has a Super Bowl in his first 2 years. He's the youngest head coach to lead his team to a Super Bowl championship. The youngest. Did I stutter? Mike Tomlin over Sean McDermott all day. Carolina Panthers, Ron Rivera. Not this year, but next year. Panthers don't do nothing. Ron Rivera's going to be on the hot seat. I know you can all point at number 1 and point at Cam for being unhealthy and stuff, but it all's got to point back to the executives, and I think Ron Rivera's the first finger you point at when you think of the Panthers' struggles. You point at Cam, then you point to Ron Rivera. Has had 1 Super Bowl appearance, choke. Well, he didn't choke in it, but his time's coming to an end. Not this year, though. Not this year. Matt Nagy, the Bears head coach, is off to a pretty hot start with 15-6, 1 NFC North championship, 1 playoff berth, and 1 AP Coach of the Year award. This one's close because Nagy's off to a good start, but great ones will find a kicker. Great ones will find a kicker that don't hit the doinks. Great ones do it. Steven Gostkowski, Bill Belichick. Why do you think he's the best coach of all time? He found the kicker. Found a kicker to win him the Super Bowl. Nonetheless, I'd rather have Tomlin over Nagy. One AP Coach of the Year award doesn't impress me one bit. Doesn't impress me one bit. Let's go to the mess that is the Cincinnati Bengals. Zach Taylor, Sean McVay 2.0, as some like to say, has gotten off to a fantastic start. 0-5. Man, I can't ask this guy to do more for that Cincinnati Bengals program they're building down there in Cleveland. My goodness. Sheesh. Calm your team down, Zach Taylor. God. Whew. I'm going to take a break here, ladies and gentlemen. 0-5 already. Sheesh. Impressive what this guy is doing. Impressive. Let's go to the dog pound. Freddie Kitchens. He's the best coach in the NFL. Freddie Kitchens is back. Baker Mayfield's back. Odell Beckham Jr. is back. Jarvis Landry. Myles Garrett. Olivier Vernon. Sheldon Richards. All that talent. All that talent and a 2-3 record. A 2-3 record of all that talent. How the hell could you believe that? 2-3 with all that record. 2-3. If I said in the beginning of the year the Browns would be 2-3, you'd look at me like I was crazy or something. Newsflash, they are. Freddie Kitchens was the running backs coach before he was the offensive coordinator. He got promoted. Then he got promoted to head coach in the offseason, which was, sheesh. You could have signed Bruce Arians. You go for Freddie Kitchens. Boy, John Dorsey, you could get talent, but you can't hire a coach for your life. Sheesh. For that reason, I'm picking Tomlin. Unproven, not that good of a coach. Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett has 3 NFC East championships, 3 playoff berths, 1 AP Coach of the Year award. This guy, he hasn't done anything. I don't think he's a good coach. He's not. Let's be honest. If it weren't for Jerry and Jason Garrett being best friends, Jason Garrett wouldn't be the Cowboys head coach. It's a straight fact. It's a fact. They were best buddies. Garrett wouldn't be the coach. Jason Garrett's tenure might come over. He might be gone. In my hot takes, what I'm going to get to the last segment of this podcast. Last week, maybe it was Tuesday or Thursday. One of those, go check those out. You can watch them on Spotify, etc. But I said Jason Garrett will be fired by week 8. With the Cowboys struggle, back-to-back losses to the Cowboys. Back-to-back losses to the Saints and to the Packers. He could be gone. He could. But I'm picking Tomlin over Jason Garrett. Don't mean to explain much for that. Vic Fangio, new head coach. Can't really tell I'm picking Tomlin over him. Matt Patricia, Lions are trying to copy what the Patriots doing. Newsflash, it doesn't work, even though we're off to a pretty good start here in 2019. But for purpose, I will pick I'll take Tomlin. Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur has gotten off to a great start with 4-1. Seems to be working with Aaron Rodgers. I know you might be surprised, but I'm picking Matt LaFleur. He's 39 years old. He's got a lot of room to grow. He's 39, ladies and gentlemen. He's 39. Sign me up. Sign me up for him. Sean McVay 2.0, where you at? Taking Matt LaFleur over Mike Tomlin. It's 2 coaches I would take over Tomlin. And then Pittsburgh fans wanted to fire. Houston Texans, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is the definition of atrocious. Bill O'Brien is awful, ladies and gentlemen. His job should be gone and might be gone this offseason. He seems to be never work. They surprise me and they make the playoffs, but then they do nothing. They do nothing. It's surprising. If you have that much talent, win a playoff game. Win a playoff game. The Indianapolis Colts and Frank Wright. It's close. It's close. This is a 50-50. Frank Wright's a great coach. He just beat Andy Reid, who we're going to get to in a minute. Just beat Andy Reid in Arrowhead, which is quote-unquote the loudest stadium in America. Funny one, Chiefs. But, nonetheless, Frank Wright, I'll take Tomlin over Frank Wright. I know. You're looking at me nuts, but Tomlin's 47 and Frank Wright's 57. I'm going for a future, not now. And right now, I might even take Tomlin over Frank Wright right now. Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Marrone, the coach that took down Tomlin in the 2017 year, has risen and then laid an egg. Nothing else. Laid an egg. So I'm going with Tomlin. How the defense do it, can't capitalize. Kansas City Chiefs, this we're going to probably the most talked about one. This and Sean Payton. Andy Reid. The guy who was in the competition as he was a 15-year-old and looked like Mike Ditka. He looked like Mike Ditka, not going to be honest. Looked like Mike Ditka. It's a hot take. Andy Reid stinks. He hasn't won a playoff game in forever, it seems like. Tomlin beat him in a playoff game. He went to Arrowhead. He beat the Chiefs, who were Super Bowl favorites coming in. Don't tell me they weren't Super Bowl favorites coming in. He gets to this postseason. He's got a quarterback in Pat Mahomes. They're playing the Patriots. And they're at home in Arrowhead, the loudest stadium. And they blow an egg. I'm going with Tomlin over Andy Reid. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Sorry. They may have play calling well, but you could get an offense coordinator anywhere. Go hire some Rams coach or something that worked for Sean McVay and that great offense down there in Los Angeles. I'm going with Tomlin. Sorry. Los Angeles Chargers. Anthony Lynn has had one playoff berth, a 23-14 record. Not much to say here. I'm taking Tomlin over him. Kind of similar style, defensive style coach. Don't call plays, but I think Tomlin's better than Anthony Lynn. You could say that. So I'm going to take Tomlin, the safe bet here, over the Chargers coach, Anthony Lynn. Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay. Is he 40? I got to look. He's not 39. He's 33. Oh, my goodness. This guy's 33 years old. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm going with Sean McVay. He made it to a Super Bowl last year. He's a good coach. Great offensive mind coach. Great coach and all. Don't mean to spend more time on this. If you were building on the defensive side and not looking for an offensive-minded coach, maybe Sean McVay won't be the best coach. Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores. Brian Flores reminds me a little bit of Zach Taylor. They got a lot of comparisons down there. Gotten off to a great start, known for looking to build that Dolphins team. Off to a great start, known for. Mike Zimmer, in a couple seasons will be on his way out. He's given a quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins very inconsistent. Hasn't capitalized. Didn't build the best defense, but again, has he had one? Kinda. Got his butt kicked in Philadelphia in 2017 to go to the Super Bowl and play at their home field, but he didn't capitalize. He's 50-33-1 in his record. He started coaching for the Vikings in 2014. He has 2 NFC North championships and 2 playoff berths. For being older than Mike Tomlin, that's pretty dang bad. New England Patriots, Bill Belichick. I don't need to explain much about this because I hate the Patriots, but Bill Belichick's better. Moving on, New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton. This is another one that goes in the Andy Reid type of situation. Mike Tomlin's better than Sean Payton. I said it. Mike Tomlin's better than Sean Payton. Sean Payton has 1 Super Bowl, Mike Tomlin has 1 Super Bowl. Sean Payton has 1 NFC championship, Tomlin has 2 AFC championships. Sean Payton has 5 NFC South championships, Tomlin has 6 AFC North championships. Sean Payton has 7 playoff berths, Tomlin has 8 playoff berths. Tic-tac-toe, where do you go? Tomlin. New York Giants, Pat Shurmur, Tomlin over him, not much to say on that. Pat Shurmur has a lot of potential down there. New quarterback in Daniel Jones, who's gotten off to a pretty good start, but still developing. New York Jets, I didn't like this hire. I thought there were better options out there, maybe a more younger look. Adam Gase, I don't think is a very good coach. Welcome to 7-9 life, New York Jets. If you're satisfied with that and paying Le'Veon Bell all that money, go ahead. Be my guest. But I'd rather take Tomlin over Adam Gase any day of the week. Oakland Raiders, John Gruden, knock on wood if you're with me. Come on, I can't hear you. And John Gruden is a pretty good coach. Pretty good. Not bad. Not great. Solid coach. Rather have Tomlin. Man. Doug Peterson. I'd rather have Tomlin for being more years older. Doug Peterson has 1 Super Bowl. Tomlin has 1 Super Bowl. 1 NFC championship. Started in 2016, but it's gotten off to a fairly good start. I'd rather have Doug Peterson over Mike Tomlin. I do. I think Doug Peterson is a good coach, but he's 51 and he looks like he's 60 or something. But Kyle Shanahan for the San Francisco 49ers, he's a very young coach. I think he's 38 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Don't fact check me on this one. You know I'm wrong. But 14-22, hasn't had a winning record yet. Got his star future quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, but needs to still unproven. Gotten off their 4-0 start. We're gonna touch to the 49ers in a little bit. But let's move to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a better coach than Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. He develops player well. He's a better scheme. And just a better player coach. He's a general manager and the head coach. He can do both at the same time, something that Tomlin could do on the Redskins. That's what Stephen A. Smith, if you don't know who Stephen A. Smith is, he's an ESPN analysis. He's on First Take and has his own podcast. But he said that Tomlin could be the general manager for the Redskins, but I don't think Tomlin has those type of traits. So for that reason, I'd go for Pete Carroll in this situation over Mike Tomlin. But credit to Tomlin, Pete Carroll is a lot older than Tomlin. But nonetheless, let's move on. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians is an okay coach, had an okay tender down there in Arizona. It was time for a new job. 2-3 right now as a Buccaneers coach. I'd rather have Tomlin over him, not mistaken. Tennessee Titans Mike Vrabel is started coaching in 2018. Is 11-10 with .524 win percentage. Not much about this. I'd rather have Tomlin over him. And the Redskins, Bill Callahan he's undefeated, folks. He is undefeated. 0-0. What a beast. No Super Bowls though, so I'm taking Tomlin. All right. Once we get back from this break, I'm going to talk about Keith Butler and the key to Steelers offense and who's gotten off to a good start, maybe even a bad start. Stay with me on Sports Hits with cwit. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. So, I'm going to go through a couple of Steelers players that I think gotten off to a pretty good start, and others I think have gotten off to a fairly mediocre start. So, who am I impressed with? I'm going to start out with the new acquisition. You could say new acquisition, Minka Fitzpatrick. Yeah. He's done well over these past games, chasing Lamar Jackson all over the field. Hasn't been the X factor that we thought he would be, but it's fairly hard to play the safety position. He's still 22 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He's still developing. Great trade for the Steelers. Not looking too good now because we're probably gonna have a top 10 pick to get our future quarterback. Because I don't know if Rudolph is the answer, but nonetheless, Minka's a great player. Steven Nelson, I think, has gotten off to a fantastic start this year. I don't know what Kansas City did to him last year. Seems like their defensive back coach was not good at all. I think he's a great player. He's gotten off to an amazing start, covering all those wide receivers, number twos and stuff. But he's gotten off to a very good start, and he looks to improve it with the challenge guarding maybe even Keenan Allen this upcoming week. It's going to be tough what this guy can do, but he's gotten off to a fairly good start. And again, Chiefs can't develop cornerbacks for their life. Number 3, I'm going to say Devin Bush has gotten off to was mediocre start, but starting to hit his stride and come back strong. He got off to a little boo-boo, let's just say that. He seemed to get in all of the blocks and stuff, but he seems now back to the role what he was in at Michigan, disrupting the quarterback and doing all that stuff, trying to cause havoc for the opposing team. And he's done a good job with that, covering these tight ends and maybe even slot receivers. Might not be the best thing for Devin, but he's still developing. He's still 21 years old. Look for this guy to have a bright future in the Steelers organization. Number 4, I'm going to say Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, for being a rookie, reminded me a lot of Antonio Brown coming out of the draft process, except for the fact that Deontay Johnson probably has a better attitude than Antonio Brown at this point. But that's not for me to judge. Deontay Johnson has been fairly good. He caught a touchdown pass against the Bengals, 49ers, and all that stuff. But he's still developing. He's still very young and has an intern wide receivers coach for him. So he's not hit his stride yet, for say. But the 3 people I'm disappointed with, all I expected, you could say big things this year. I expected them to, it's their coming out party. But it didn't happen. For the first 4 weeks, it didn't happen. Number 1, Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree might be the definition of average. He's not too good, he's not too great. He's not too good, he's not too bad. He's just so average, it just bores the heck out of me. He really does. Watching this guy play, you have one game where he has a couple sacks, maybe a forced fumble in there, and then there's one game where you didn't even know he was playing. He's so inconsistent, it's unbelievable what this guy can do. Number 2, Mark Barron. Mark Barron was a safety coming into the NFL draft. Doesn't look like a safety because we got him for coverage, and he stinks at coverage. He stinks. He's horrible. I'm not a big Mark Barron fan. I'd rather have Vince Williams on the field than him. I'd rather have Devin Bush on the field than him. I'd maybe even rather have Tyler Matakevich on the field than him. And the last person is Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster is not ready to be a number 1 wide receiver. He's 21 years old, if I'm not mistaken, but he's still developing. But we're expecting. He's 22. Excuse me. But we were expecting big things from Juju this year. Thought he was gonna come back to the 100 receptions that he had last year, but he doesn't have Ben Roethlisberger this year, and it's showing for him. It is really showing for him. He's really been struggling, especially going up against these number 1 wide receivers. And this guy's got to get his act together. I know Mason Rudolph hit was dangerous and stuff, but for him to go cry in the corner, get some sympathy, boy. Get some sympathy, man. Really. He comes out. He's 6-round pregame. He's dancing the whole time, not just joking off and stuff, but isn't really doing much. But dancing in the pregame because I got there early because of the tailgates. I didn't tailgate, excuse me, but we got there early. Got some breakfast. Head in about an hour before kickoff, and I was watching Smith-Schuster Did a couple catches. Obviously, he was limited practice because of his toe, threatening to not play, but decided to go on a game time decision. And he wasn't. He was dancing during pregame. Let's just say that he was dancing. So get your act together. You could say he lost us the game this week, but I hate to say that because I'm a big Juju's fan. But moving to another team in the AFC North, is Baker Mayfield overrated? First off, there's a police video about him. Look it up. Look it up. He's running from the cops. He's slow. He's slow. He looked like he is a little more overweight this season. He seems like he's doing more commercials than he's doing better than the him playing. He seems like he's doing more commercials. He's on every other commercial. He might turn into Peyton Manning, goddamn. Get your act together, Baker. You looked horrible. You looked washed up versus the 49ers. Credit he has a horrible offensive line, but I thought you were accurate. Because you had a couple throws that you missed last night. Come on. Baker is overrated. He is. He likes to chit-chat. As you may know, Richard Sherman, the 49ers cornerback, just went on the air recently and spoke about the Browns QB, about how he didn't shake hands with him, and he thought that was very not classy at all, not a class act one bit. But I can see what Richard Sherman's coming from, but Baker Mayfield side, you haven't won anything, so just do something. Do something to make do something to make me all jumping up and down about. Moving to the NFC, let's go. Are the 49ers legit? They're 4-0, only team undefeated with the Patriots. Jimmy Garoppolo coming off that monster contract last year, a torn ACL he is coming off of, but he's done well. He's done enough to win. He's had 5 turnovers versus Steelers, but the Steelers can capitalize. Their defense is unstoppable, though. Their defense is unstoppable. It's amazing what this defensive line can do. You got Sheldon Thomas. Excuse me. And then you got DeForest Buckner, all those guys in the front middle. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Got Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Richard Sherman on the defense, DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa, who looked phenomenal last night. Thought the Ohio State planting the flag was a little cheesy, but I'll stick with it. We got a pretty good roster overall. Kyle Juszczyk is a big part of that offense. George Kittle is the captain for them, a 3-year tight end from Iowa. He's producing very good tight ends these days. Weston Richburg commanding the middle of that offensive line with Joe Staley at the tackle position, usually at the left, the 13-year veteran. But he is out right now. I think it's a fibula. Solomon Thomas on the defensive line is looking maybe he's a little overrated, but, it's going to get the best of him sometime. D Ford has done fairly well for these 49ers team. He's done well, but it's not. They're still. They got to win a couple more games. I mean, they started out. Who'd they start out with? They beat the Bengals week 2, which is not that impressive. But let's look at their schedule. They beat the Buccaneers week 1. You could say that's impressive. Buccaneers are say legit. I don't want to say legit. They're dangerous in the NFC. especially with Drew Brees out, it could be coming down to a Buccaneers Saints race. Also, don't count out the Panthers. Don't count out the Panthers. So they beat the Buccaneers week 1. They beat the Bengals, who are atrocious. They beat the Steelers with their backup quarterback, and then they beat the Browns. It's not that impressive. They're not legit yet. I mean, they're going to see their beef for their competition coming up with the Rams, Redskins, Seahawks. They'll get in the division play soon. Packers, Saints, Falcons, Ravens, all those guys, Rams, and Seahawks again, week 16 and 17. But this team is not legit yet, but they're on the right path to it. And that's going to wrap up this segment. Stay with me here because I'm going to go through the Redskins replacements that they could potentially add, which include a lot of head coaches, maybe even the Pittsburgh Steelers, my favorite team's head coach, Mike Tomlin. I said earlier I would not like that, but the Redskins have fired Jay Gruden after a couple of losing seasons. A little inconsistent from my boy Jay Gruden. Knock on wood if you're with me. Very inconsistent, but he might even go coach with his brother John down there in Oakland, soon to be Las Vegas. But we'll get into that next. Stay with me here on the cwit on Sports Hits with cwit. And welcome back, everybody, to Sports Hits with cwit. Happy to have you guys back with me here. And as you may know, Jay Gruden was fired from the Redskins on Monday. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Monday. Actually, it might have been Sunday. But nonetheless, the point is, Redskins need a new head coach. So I'm going to give you a couple of guys who I think are very capable and could even be the new head coach for the Washington Redskins, who need a culture change badly. Number 1, I think Lincoln Riley could be a possible head coach. You see what this guy can do with quarterbacks he's produced. Maybe even the next 3 number 1 picks with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, maybe even Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has been phenomenal this year. This guy is a offensive machine. What this guy is doing, he's going to be if he's going to leave Oklahoma soon, he's going to leave for an NFL job. And I think the Redskins are in an okay spot for him to take over of. He's gonna probably run the offense. They're gonna go probably no huddle type offense, the type that Lincoln Riley likes to run down there in Oklahoma. Number 2, I'm gonna say Ryan Day. And it's weird because Ryan Day was just hired as the Ohio State coach, and he just said earlier today that he wants no part with that Redskins job. He wants to stay in Ohio forever, which I find that hard to believe because when he was hired, Urban Meyer said the same thing, and then he eventually retired. But I think he'll come back to football. He's missing it too much. He's on the Fox game day every week, dying to be out there as a head coach. Just stinks that his anxiety and mental health is not at par, which sucks for Urban Meyer. But Ryan Day is an okay head coach. He's still unproven. He's got a good offense down there in Ohio State with Justin Fields. He's going to coach former quarterback Dwayne Haskins if he takes the job. They know each other well, so it wouldn't be the worst. Number 3, Rex Ryan. I think Rex Ryan would definitely be a culture change for the Redskins. Also, obviously, they need it in like a bad way. They definitely need a culture change. Their name might have to change. Rex Ryan would discipline that team very well. He would coach them okay, not the best head coach. He's okay. It could be another Bills situation. It might be able to work to take a chance on him. Let's move on to number 4, Jim Harbaugh. If he leaves Michigan, I think Jim Harbaugh could be a legitimate head coach candidate for the Washington Redskins team. I think he's an okay coach. He's going to need coordinators with him at all times, but he's shown that he's done it in the NFL. He's been a coordinator. He's been a head coach on a Super Bowl winning roster. Just came a couple plays short from winning that Super Bowl versus the Ravens back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. But it's only if he leaves Michigan. As a Michigan fan, go blue, by the way, I don't think he's going to leave. Mike Potente is kind of a weird option. He's still kind of unproven. He is the He is the Packers defense coordinator who's gotten off to a fire start this season. He's done very well. He's still unproven, but he's only 2 years in the league. He's came up with defensive schemes that have became really well, but it could be worth a shot. Number 6 is Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, you probably saw him most as the guy getting fired from the Packers. He didn't work well with Aaron Rodgers. He didn't work well with any of those coordinators down there in Green Bay. But it could be a culture change. He's a little older, on the older side, but it could be worth the risk going after the veteran coach and Super Bowl winning coach, Mike McCarthy. Next, Chris Richard. Chris Richard is kind of an unknown guy, but he did develop the Legion of Boom. This would be more of a defensive-minded kind of guy. Obviously, I bet the Redskins are looking for an offensive-minded guy, but I don't know it because they're looking for Mike Tomlin, who's more of a defensive kind of guy than offense. But Chris Richard developed the Legion of Boom and maybe would fit in nicely down there in Washington. He would definitely fix up that defense who is in need of a rebuild. But he's got the team. He's got the talent to do it with Landon Collins and all those guys, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and all those guys. But he's gonna need the job first. Another one. This would be another surprising move, but it could happen. It would be another offensive-minded guy, and this is gonna be former Steelers quarterback Byron Leftwich. I know you guys think Byron Leftwich is an okay coach, but he's coming up with great ideas for that team down there in Tampa Bay. He's done fairly well so far as a coordinator down in Tampa Bay, but he could bring some creativity as a head coach and maybe even an option for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down in the future. And my last one, it's not really a person, but just someone from the Rams. Someone from the Rams would be perfect for the Redskins. It would just be an offensive-minded coach. He'd be good. Just anyone from the Rams would probably work and probably turn into maybe even the next Sean McVay. But that's going to wrap up my coaches. But let's get into a little fantasy waiver wire ads. Who I'm going to tell you a couple of guys who I think you should add, and I'm going to back it up with some reasoning. First off is Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is a pretty good player. Chase Edmonds, I'm going to say you should add him for fantasy, is a great player. He's from Fordham also. Fordham, Sean, my brother, you're the best man. From Fordham, one of my biggest supporters. He's from Fordham. Sean's going to Fordham right now, studying the business school there. Going to be on Wall Street one day. What a beast. But nonetheless, the point is, Chase Edmonds is pretty good. He's got the Falcons this week in a favorable matchup, but they'll pick up the guy from Fordham and support the Fordham University Rams and support my brother Sean Whitty as he makes his mark to Wall Street. Another one I'm going to say, it's going to be Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper is getting a lot of double teams lately, but he's been breaking through. But Dak Prescott needs a number 2 option. You got to have a number 2 option in this league. And I think Michael Gallup has come in and done a very good job with this offense. Dak Prescott wants to get in the ball. They're throwing a lot more with offense coordinator Kellen Moore. It's just a great fit, even a flex move if you need him, especially if you're in a deep league and he's available. He's got the Jets this week in a favorable matchup. Ronald Jones, he's got the Panthers this week. He's kind of solidified why he's going to be the starting running back, over Peyton Barber. He's gotten most of the carries the last couple weeks, but he's done relatively well. He's still raw. He's still raw as a pass catcher. Wasn't the best in college, but this guy is a downhill runner left and right. He's going to run down your throat. If you don't like it, then you got to stop it. But I think he could be a notable waiver wire ad. Another one, my fourth one could be Golden Tate. Golden Tate is on, surprisingly, you think he would be on the Lions, but he's actually on the New York Football Giants. I know you guys might be a little surprised at that, but he was suspended the first 4 games. He's back now. First 5 games, I think. Excuse me. But their star receiver, Sterling Shepard, they just gave I think it was $8 million a year. He's out for a couple of weeks. It could be a wide receiver number 2, maybe even a flex option if you want it. Kind of a rental week as we start to get to the bye weeks. He could be a good ad. But if this guy's available in your league, add him. And this guy is Will Fuller. Will Fuller is he showed you why he's what his ceiling could be. He showed you what his ceiling could be. I think it was 53 points in fantasy, if I'm not mistaken. 53. Had 211 yards, 17 receptions, and 3 touchdowns. This guy was all over the field. He's a deep threat. Deshaun Watson's going to hit him deep. It's going to be interesting what this guy will do facing a struggling Chiefs secondary who just came off the loss of the Indianapolis Colts. My last one is a rental QB as we start to do the bye weeks and all. But this guy's Kirk Cousins. He's got a favorable matchup with the struggling Eagles defense. No, they've had a lot of injuries. They're not bad, but they're not great at the same time. So Kirk Cousins, you could slot him in anywhere. You could slot him as a backup QB. He may be finding his stride, a little confidence booster, beating the the New York Giants this past week, trying to find all these receivers, get the ball in his hands, and try and limit the interceptions, which is kind of hard for Kirk Cousins, but if he can do that, he'd be golden. But we're going to take a quick break here on Sports Hits with cwit. After, I'm going to review Week 5 and then some hot takes at the end. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. So, in this segment, we're going to review Week 5 and all the games, and then we're going to get into some hot takes at the end, and then, sadly, that's going to be the final segment of the podcast, but luckily, I'll be filming a new podcast with predictions on Week 6 of the NFL this Thursday, so mark your calendars. It's going to come out about 7 o'clock, probably, before the Thursday night game, which is the Patriots and Giants. But let's get into reviewing Week 5. The Rams and Seahawks. The Seahawks won in a nail-biter win versus the Rams. Greg Zuerlein missed a game-winning field goal. The Rams, I wouldn't worry if you're Rams fans. They still got one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Got some weapons, and Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods got I think the best player in the NFL, and Aaron Donald on the defensive side can break away. But it was a solid game overall. Greg Zuerlein, if you say he was Greg the Leg, then the Rams would have won that game, but unfortunately that did not happen, and the Seahawks took that game. The Eagles beat the Jets 31-6 in a routing down there in Philadelphia. The Eagles defense really, played well that game. A couple of interceptions, especially from Orlando Scandrick. I think he was just signed, but I'm not sure. Again, don't fact check me on this one. But, Eagles showing why they could be the leaders in that NFC East division. It's still a wide open division. They're still tied with the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are now trending down with 2 back-to-back losses. The Jaguars and Panthers. The Panthers beat the Jaguars 34-27. It's all the Christian McCaffrey show today. I think he had 200 yards. He had like 47 points in fantasy, which was spectacular what this guy is doing. He's a legit MVP candidate. You can't take him away from that. But Kyle Allen looks more impressive each and every game, and maybe Cam Newton isn't the answer for the future after all. The Vikings got a little confidence booster after beating the up and rising Giants with rookie quarterback Daniel Jones. A little confidence booster for this Vikings team, obviously, with the struggle 2-2 start in the season, losing to the Bears last week. But nice confidence booster for this team as they look to regain what they thought was theirs at the beginning of the year in that division. The Texans beat the Falcons 53-32. Dan Quinn's on the hot seat, ladies and gentlemen. He is not getting the job done, and he's going to be on the hot seat sooner than later. Saints beat the Buccaneers 31-24. Mike Evans held to a nothy 0 catches and 0 yards in that game. Marshawn Lattimore shut him down, and Teddy Bridgewater continues to impress. Still not Drew Brees, though. Drew Brees looks to be healthy about week 9, maybe even week 10, maybe even week after the bye. Why rush him, though, if they're still winning ball games with Teddy Bridgewater back there at quarterback? The Bills beat the Titans 14-7. Josh Allen played this game, which I said he probably wouldn't. In Thursday's podcast, I apologize for that. I did not know how serious his concussion was, but he was ready to go on Sunday. I didn't watch most of these games because I was at the Steeler game, rooting on the Steelers, which I'll get to in a minute. But the Bills beat the Titans, and the Bills, after losing to the Patriots, move on to 4-1 in that division. The Cardinals beat the Bengals, winning their first game in the Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray era. Beat the struggling Bengals, who moved to 0-5 in the new Zach Taylor, Andy Dalton era, which may consist of a new quarterback this offseason, the way the Bengals are playing. But it was a pretty solid game. Came back to a game-winning drive from Kyler Murray. We're going to see a lot more of that throughout his career. The Patriots beat the Redskins 33-7 in a routing. Tom Brady did his thing. Julian Edelman did his thing. The Patriots defense did their thing, holding the Redskins to only 7 points. And they scored I think it was a 53-yard touchdown, forget the name, to a Redskins end-around receiver. But other than that, they kind of shut them down for the rest of the game. The Ravens beat the Steelers. We kind of talked about this. A little disappointing from the Steelers. Moved to 1-4. The Ravens moved to 3-2 on the top of that division. The Bears lost to the Raiders 24-21. Knock on wood if you're with me. The Raiders looked pretty well. Derek Carr played pretty well, but their defense was a big story in this game. Seemed to be in Chase Daniel's face every single second and every single play of the game, but very consistent down there in London. And the Bears moved to, 3-2 maybe? I don't know. But the Raiders moved to 3-2. I know that. Knock on wood if you're with me. The Broncos beat the Chargers in a surprising 20-13 victory. That could be, beneficial to the Steelers as they go to LA next week to play the Los Angeles Chargers. Keenan Allen was held to 2 receptions for 11 yards. Didn't have his best game. But look for the Chargers to bounce back, especially playing against the third-string quarterback in Devlin Buck Hodges. The Cowboys lost to the Packers 34-24 as Matt LaFleur continues to impress in his NFL season debut. NFL first season, for say. But the Cowboys started out with the Dolphins. I think it was the Redskins and all those guys. It might have been it wasn't the Jets. But nonetheless, the point is the Cowboys didn't have the greatest start of talent starting off, but they kind of got punched in the mouth these 2 past games. Lost versus the Saints and now to the Packers. And now everyone who thought the 3-0 Cowboys would be something great are now tied with the Philadelphia Eagles for that AFC East division. The Colts and Chiefs in a surprising matter. The Colts beat the Chiefs 19-13. They shut Patrick Mahomes down with Darius Leonard out, Malik Hooker out, all those guys out in the secondary. And the young head coach, defensive coordinator, who was trying to find a plan to stop maybe even the best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, but they held him to 13 points and it worked. They pounded and ground the football. And the Chiefs' run defense stinks. It is horrible to watch this Chiefs' run defense perform. And we kind of talked about this one, but the 49ers beat the Browns 31-3 in a routing on Monday Night Football. What do I see from this? I see that the 49ers could be legit, but we don't know yet because they're still very unproven. But that's going to be the review for Week 5. Let's get into some hot takes. The AFC North is wide open, people. The Bengals could even come back. They got to win, though. It's wide open. Steelers, don't rule the Steelers out. I mean, they have the third-string quarterback, but don't rule them out. Don't rule them out. Number 2, Baker Mayfield will be sacked 40 times. Their offensive lineman is awful. We're awful. And with the division they're in, with all those pass rushers coming in, expect Baker to be sacked a lot this offseason. Number 3, if the Dodgers don't win tomorrow versus the Nationals, Dave Roberts should go. This guy has made it to the World Series in a successful organization, but he hasn't gotten the job done in the playoffs. And you got to point a finger at someone, especially if they lose to the Nationals, especially winning 2-1 in that series. Number 4, Tomlin will be traded to the Redskins. The Steelers hire Lincoln Riley. This is more fantasy than realistic, but could happen. Number 5, Michigan runs the card and goes undefeated the rest of the year and goes into the college football playoffs. It's possible, ladies and gentlemen. It is very possible what this Michigan team can do. If their defense is up to par, look out for the Wolverines. I think the Houston Rockets with not Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook and James Harden will miss the playoffs. I think those two will bring each other down in points and scoring wise, but I think they'll miss the playoffs in that stacked Western Conference. I think the Cowboys will still win the division despite 2 losses in a row. They still got Dak Prescott. They still got Ezekiel Elliott. They still got Leighton Vander Esch. They still got Amari Cooper. They still got Jason Witten. They still got a great offensive line. Don't rule out the Cowboys. I think Devlin Hodges will lead the Steelers to 2 wins in 5 weeks, which is pretty impressive for a QB3. I think the Rams will miss the playoffs in that stacked division with the 49ers and Seahawks, and even the Cardinals. Don't rule the Cardinals out. They're at 1-3. But I'd rate the Seahawks over the Rams at this point. But the Patriots were in the same situation last year, and they won the Super Bowl, but the Rams are in a harder division than the Patriots are. I think the Chiefs will trade for Jalen Ramsey. They showed it that they need it, especially with Jacoby Brissett making him look like he was Andrew Luck out there, burning the Chiefs defense left and right. Bashar Beeland had a rough night, but I think the Chiefs need to focus on their run defense as Marlon Mack continued to run all over them. But it's a topic to talk about another time, but I think the Chiefs, their offense is going to be special this year with Pat Mahomes. And I think to get over the hump, to try to beat these teams like the Patriots and stuff in the AFC, they need a star cornerback. They haven't gotten that since Marcus Peters left for the LA Rams. And he was a letdown, let's be honest. But thank you so much for listening in. Make sure to stay on top of the news and follow Steel City Sports 4 on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you Thursday.